Bill Clinton was born on August 19, 1946, in a small town called Hope, Arkansas. Hope was a quiet place where everyone knew each other. The streets were lined with simple houses and friendly faces. Bill's father, a traveling salesman, died in a car accident 3 months before Bill was born. Because of this, Bill lived with his grandparents, Eldridge and Edith Cassidy. Every morning, they opened their little store and taught Bill important lessons. They showed him how honesty makes trust grow. They showed him how hard work brings real rewards. And they showed him how kindness can brighten someone's day. When Bill was 4 years old, his mother, Virginia, returned from New Orleans. She had finished her nursing studies and brought home her diploma. She also had a new husband, Roger Clinton. The family moved to a larger town called Hot Springs, famous for its warm mineral springs and busy streets. Bill felt both excited and nervous in his new home. He missed the quiet life in Hope, but he was eager to explore Hot Springs. In Hot Springs, Bill discovered a new love: music. His grandparents had given him a saxophone as a gift. The saxophone was large and shiny, and Bill held it carefully in his small hands. He practiced simple notes at first. He played slowly, listening to each sound. When he made a mistake, he paused and tried again. His grandparents cheered him on, reminding him that practice and patience help anyone improve. On his first day playing for his class, Bill's heart pounded. His hands shook, but he took a deep breath and played one clear note after another. At the end, his classmates clapped. Bill felt proud and more confident than ever. As Bill grew older, he found another passion: reading the newspaper. Every morning, he took the paper and read the headlines. He underlined words like leader, community, and change. He read slowly and carefully, making sure he understood each sentence. Then he practiced reading aloud, speaking each word clearly. This habit helped him build strong speaking skills. He learned that slow, clear speech helps others understand better. At 16, Bill had a chance he would never forget. He traveled to Washington, D.C., the capital of the United States. There, he met President John F. Kennedy in a grand room filled with tall columns and bright lights. Bill stood quietly, feeling both small and excited. When President Kennedy greeted him with a warm smile and kind words, Bill felt a spark of hope. He thought, if a boy from a small town like mine can meet a president, maybe I can do great things too. That moment planted a seed of possibility in his heart. Back home in Arkansas, Bill continued to grow. He carried his saxophone to school each day and read the newspaper before breakfast. He practiced speaking slowly and clearly whenever he had to talk in front of others. His grandparents still reminded him of the lessons they had taught him: honesty, hard work, and kindness. He added a new lesson from his mother and stepfather: courage. His mother's choice to study nursing and his stepfather's support showed him that bravery can take many forms. By the time Bill finished high school, he had learned that dreams begin with small steps. A small town boy can learn music, read news with care, and even meet a president. Each of these experiences helped him grow stronger and more confident. He understood that real success comes from honest effort, kind actions, patient practice, and brave choices. These lessons formed the roots of his first dreams, and they would guide him on the long journey ahead. Bill Clinton left Arkansas to attend Georgetown University in Washington, D.C. The campus was full of red brick buildings and tall trees. He felt small at first, but also excited. In his classes, he studied international affairs. He learned how countries work together. He read about world events and wondered how he could help solve problems. When lectures ended, he stayed to ask questions. His professors saw his curiosity and encouraged him to keep learning. Outside class, Bill volunteered at a student center for new arrivals. He helped freshmen find their way around campus. He showed them the library and the dining hall. A quiet student once told him she missed her home and felt lost. Bill listened carefully. He put a hand on her shoulder and said, "You are not alone here." She smiled and thanked him. In that moment, Bill felt the power of kindness and empathy. He realized that good leaders listen first. One late night, Bill sat with a fellow intern in a small office. They talked about hopes for the world. The intern said, "I wish people everywhere could feel safe and respected." Bill nodded and wrote in his journal, "I will work to make people feel safe." This journal entry became a promise he carried in his heart. The promise grew stronger each time he heard someone's story. That summer, Bill landed an internship with Senator J. William Fulbright of Arkansas. He drafted letters, researched policy issues, and watched committee meetings. He felt awe seeing senators debate new laws. He learned that a single document could change many lives. After each meeting, he returned to his desk and wrote notes. He thought, "One day, I want to write words that help people." The internship showed him how government works and taught him the value of careful research. After graduating from Georgetown, Bill returned to Arkansas. He took a teaching job at the University of Arkansas School of Law. He stood before rows of students eager to learn. He explained legal ideas in simple language. He told stories to make points clear. He enjoyed teaching, but he still felt the promise in his journal pulling him toward public service. At age 28, Bill decided to run for Attorney General of Arkansas. He announced his campaign with a short speech. "My name is Bill Clinton. I promise to listen." He wore a suit and tie as he traveled the state. In small towns, he spoke with farmers who worried about their crops. He visited shop owners who needed fair rules. He met families concerned about safety and health. He listened to each person and asked, "How can I help you?" He never rushed a conversation. He believed that real change begins with listening. Night after night, Bill practiced speaking slowly and clearly. He learned to stand tall, look people in the eye, and speak from the heart. His words were simple but honest. He spoke of fairness and hard work. He said, "I will work every day to protect your rights." People remembered his calm voice and steady gaze. They felt he cared about their lives. On election day, Bill won the race for Attorney General. He became the youngest person in the country to hold that office. In his new role, he worked to protect the environment. He supported clean water for rivers and lakes. He fought for better healthcare access, so families could see a doctor without fear. He enforced fair business practices, making sure companies treated consumers with respect. Each decision he made was rooted in what he had learned: honesty, hard work, kindness, and listening. Looking back on this time, Bill saw how his studies at Georgetown and his internship had prepared him for real leadership. He had learned to study big ideas and to hear small voices. He had honed his speaking and problem-solving skills. He had seen how one promise in a private journal could guide a public life. Through teaching and campaigning, he grew from a curious student into a leader ready to serve his community. Bill's journey from Georgetown halls to Arkansas courts was a period of growth and discovery. He learned that true leadership combines knowledge, empathy, and clear communication. He found that listening to others and speaking from the heart can change minds and build trust. By the time he stepped into the Attorney General's office, Bill Clinton was no longer just a young man with big dreams. He was a leader with the promise to make a real difference. Bill Clinton's first step toward higher leadership came when he ran for governor of Arkansas. In 1978, at the age of 32, he won the election. As governor, he walked through school hallways, greeted students, and listened to teachers. He saw old classrooms with broken windows and outdated books. He knew that every child deserves a good education. To help, he increased funding for schools and started programs to train teachers. He opened after-school reading centers so children could practice their lessons in a safe place. When he signed these new laws, his hand shook just a little. He felt both proud and nervous. He believed that small changes in schools could build a brighter future for the state. After 2 terms in the governor's mansion, Bill set his heart on a bigger goal: the White House. In 1992, he launched his presidential campaign with the slogan "Hope and Change." He traveled from small towns to big cities, riding on a bus with the campaign team. He shook hands in factories, spoke at farm meetings, and listened to people's stories in grocery store aisles. Early mornings and late nights became his new routine. He practiced his speeches until his voice was clear and calm. At home, his wife Hillary led her own efforts, talking with women's groups and sharing ideas for child health care. The couple worked side by side, each supporting the other. On election night, Bill and Hillary sat quietly in their living room. The television screens showed vote counts from coast to coast. As the final state results appeared, they saw their victory. Bill's eyes filled with tears as he called his mother back in Arkansas. "We did it," he said softly. "Thank you for everything." On November 3rd, 1992, he became the 42nd President of the United States. Stepping into the Oval Office, Bill faced big challenges. The economy was slow, and many families worried about finding work. He and his team designed a plan to raise taxes on the wealthiest Americans and to invest in small businesses. They believed that helping businesses would create new jobs. Slowly, the plan worked. New companies opened, and more people found stable work. Next, Bill focused on health care. He asked Hillary to lead a task force to make health insurance more affordable. Although their first plan did not pass Congress, they did succeed in creating the Children's Health Insurance Program. This program provided medical coverage for millions of children from low-income families, giving them a chance to grow up healthy. On the world stage, Bill used diplomacy to promote peace. In the Balkans, a region torn by war, he brought leaders together at peace talks. He reminded them of shared history and the cost of conflict. After long meetings, they reached an agreement to end the fighting. Bill believed that listening and respect could resolve even the hardest conflicts. At home, he signed laws to reduce crime and protect women from violence. He worked to place more police officers on the streets and to enforce gun control measures. He faced setbacks, too. A peacekeeping mission in Somalia ended tragically, and he learned a difficult lesson about the limits of military intervention. Instead of giving up, he reflected on what went wrong and adapted his approach to future crises. After 2 terms in the White House, Bill Clinton left office in 2001 with a strong record of achievements. The nation had seen economic growth, lower unemployment, and a balanced budget. Education programs had improved classrooms and teacher training. Peace had been advanced in difficult regions abroad. Yet his work did not end with his presidency. He founded the Clinton Foundation to address global health, economic development, and disaster relief. Through the foundation, he helped fight diseases like HIV/AIDS, supported farmers in developing countries, and provided aid after natural disasters. He traveled the world, met with leaders and communities, and used his experience to make life better for others. Bill Clinton's journey from the governor's mansion to the White House and beyond shows the power of perseverance. He balanced small-town values with national and global challenges. He learned that true leadership combines clear goals, respectful listening, and the courage to face setbacks. His story reminds us that real change begins with small steps. Walking through a school hallway, listening to a farmer's concerns, or shaking hands in a factory. When leaders stay focused on service, they can turn hope into lasting progress. In this story, we followed Bill Clinton from his early days in a small town called Hope, Arkansas, all the way to the White House and beyond. We saw how he learned honesty, hard work, and kindness from his grandparents. He found his voice with a saxophone and built confidence by reading the newspaper and practicing clear speech. At Georgetown University, he studied global affairs, helped new students, and made a promise in his journal to serve others. Back in Arkansas, he taught law, and then listened closely to people's concerns as he ran for attorney general. As governor, he improved schools and helped families. Finally, as president, he worked on the economy, health care for children, and world peace. After leaving office, he continued to serve through his foundation, fighting disease and aiding communities around the world. The deep lesson from Bill Clinton's journey is this: real leadership grows from small acts of service and simple daily habits. Whether you are playing a musical note, listening kindly to a friend, or reading news slowly to understand it, each step builds your character. Courage, empathy, and clear communication are not gifts only for a few. We all can practice them. When you do small things with honesty and care, you prepare yourself for bigger challenges. To apply this lesson in your life today, start with one small habit. You might greet a neighbor with a smile, or read one English paragraph slowly each morning. Maybe you listen carefully when someone shares a problem, or you help a classmate understand a word. These small actions build confidence and kindness. Over time, they will strengthen your skills so you can face larger goals, just as Bill did. Congratulations, you have listened through this whole story. Your English listening and understanding have improved. Now let us see how well you remember the lesson. Which quality from Bill Clinton's story do you find most important? A. Listening to others with empathy. B. Practicing a small daily habit. Please write A or B in the comments below. We love to hear your choice. If you enjoyed this story and learned new English skills, please subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us continue making free, high-quality content. If you can, consider donating. Early on, it can be hard to cover costs for research, editing, and recording. Your donation will help us keep this project going and bring you more inspiring stories to learn from. Thank you for listening and for helping us grow.